The most challenging aspect to new preservation players are typically the amount of combos you can use to heal a party, and while I try to go over it in my guides, I wanted to dedicate a whole video to it. We're going to go over what a combo is, the ways you can combo, and every heal imaginable so you can get a full sense of how this works and leave a more confident dragon. My name is Baz the Healer, and let's dive into it because there's a lot here. And I'm going to start with the basics. For any of you who are new, just note this isn't a beginner's guide, and if you want that, I do have a whole 2-hour course on preservation you can go watch. Echo is the core spell that lets us combo. It costs essence, which is our unique resource, and a small amount of mana. Do note if it's an essence burst, it will cost no mana and no essence. It sits on a target for 18 something seconds, waiting to see a direct heal from you. If you say Living Flame another target or the same target with an echo on them, you're going to see 2 Living Flames come out of you. These copies of the spell count as real casts of the spell. So Living Flame and its 20% chance to give us a free essence spell is rolling the dice 2 times because the move was cast 2 times technically because one was cast, one was echoed. So yes, if we were to make 1,000,000 echoes and then send out a Living Flame, we would roll the dice 1,000,001 times. And the dice is being rolled for crit on every single one of those, their healing amount, all of those things are all individually rolled, if that makes any sense. Direct heals are the spells you target your allies for, and also Dream Breath. The Dream Breath counts. Dream Breath also always heals you, so if you're not healing anybody with your Dream Breath, you'll still use it in a combo. It'll still be seen by an echo and be copied. Temporal Anomaly and its sister talent Temporal Barrier will give out 5 echoes, and I like to call these half echoes because they're 45 to 50% in strength. Now, it doesn't cost any essence. It's actually just a little bit of mana and a small cooldown. So you have access to an easy but less effective setup for AoE healing. Or you can go to try to echo everyone up manually for more potent echoes, but it does take longer to set up that way. And hey, you're going to need both of these for healing anyway, mixing and matching them. This is where combos come in. Combo is just short for combination. You probably knew that. Combining things. Fighting game players and competitive TCG players should be extremely familiar with the concept. Look, Chun-Li, she just landed 2 attacks. That's a combo. We too can throw out 2 attacks, a Temporal Anomaly and a Dream Breath. Ta-da, a combo. But there's a lot more going on here. Any Street Fighter player will tell you that a combo is more than just 2 different attacks. It's about doing what you can given the situation you have. And as you can see from this demo combo, that's a lot more moves and a lot more damage than just 2 attacks, even if you don't know anything about Street Fighter. The metaphor is relevant because preservation doesn't always have all of their heals available. Temporal Anomaly and Dream Breath both have cooldowns. In fact, every heal you have has a cooldown other than Living Flame. They cost essence, they have cooldowns and charges, etc. A combo isn't just 2 moves slapped together. It's about using what you have and healing to the best of your abilities. The combo I showed you in Street Fighter is only optimal in certain circumstances, and there are even more optimal combos given the resources I had. But even in a suboptimal situation, damage is damage, and in WoW, healing is healing. What I mean by this as an example is Temporal Anomaly into Chrono Flames. Yep, that's a combo, and it heals, and it also has some advantages, right? It doesn't cost a cooldown, and Essence Burst is available on a 20% chance for each one of those Living Flames, so it has a high chance to give us more echoes and do other nice things for us. However, we could also Temporal Anomaly, then hit Verdant Embrace. This is going to be more healing, and more often I think this is the better combo, and depending on our hero talents, we might get a heal over time out of it, or additional burst healing. However, if the scenario was we took damage and we need to heal, then both of these would work, right? So if you didn't have Verdant Embrace and you only had a Living Flame, well, maybe the Living Flame would have saved the day. Both of them are healing, both of them will work. So before we get into spells, combos, and their utility, let's talk about the major forms of combos. And hey, if you play DPS, you're going to recognize a lot of these words. A cleave combo. Cleave refers to 2 to 3 targets of something. If you echo 1 target that needs healing, and then another target that needs healing, and then you Living Flame the 3rd, congratulations, you healed 3 targets. That's cleave healing. I use cleave healing whenever I see 2 players hurting and I don't need to do anything bigger. And also don't feel bad about spending your Temporal Anomaly and 5 echoes on 2 to 3 target healing. It happens sometimes. But whenever you can reserve resources, I think it's good to just kind of echo the 2 people that are hurt, hit a Verdant Embrace, and have a nice day. A lot of the times cleave combos really come into play after another healing combo. Let's say there's a major damage event, you just healed everyone up, and 2 targets are still hurting. Okay, well then Echo, Echo, Verdant Embrace, ta-da. An AoE combo refers to more than 3 targets typically. Temporal Anomaly is a nice easy way to get 5, so that's a great way to start your AoE healing. However, hitting up 5 full-size Echoes isn't a bad idea either, it just takes a little bit longer. However, you can get a massive amount of healing if you have all 5 targets fully echoed up, or even just with a Temporal Anomaly. Single target combo. So this is just healing 1 target but with echoes. And don't ever sleep on this option, especially if your tank gets hurt. A lot of the times you're going to go echo reversion, and save your tank's life. But yeah, if a player just took a lot of damage and you need to heal just them up, yeah, put an echo on them, hit a Verdant Embrace, throw a Living Flame. Nothing wrong with a combo like that. Don't ever count out single target combos. Just note that usually it doesn't feel good if you waste your resources in single target and then don't have anything for when more people get hurt, but you will be dipping into single target combos from time to time. And then finally, no combo, using the move Raw. This is actually really important for combos. So I'm going to talk about this later, but Dream Breath gives us Marithra's Blessing with her current Apex talents. So maybe I hit everyone with a Dream Breath, fully charge it up, hit 4 to 5 targets. That's a decent heal on its own with no echoes. But now I have a Marithra's Blessing, which is a really powerful spell with echoes. So now if I get down 5 echoes and I throw my Marithra's Blessing, that's 6 Marithra's Blessings bouncing around, 5 echoes and 1 raw cast of the spell. This brings us to the final vernacular I'm going to throw at you today. I think that card game players will like this one a lot. When you have multiple combos back to back, you have to find what spells you have available and use them to the best of your abilities. We call this a line or a string. Finding a line to heal the situation in front of you. So what spells do you have? What spells are coming up? How might you be able to heal this event that's about to happen? But remember, and don't ever forget, healing is healing. It's okay to get these combos wrong because a lot of the times the game's just asking you to do some amount of healing. Even in higher level play where you might be mapping out exactly how you're going to heal through something, you're still going to have some free-form moments, topping people off or fixing mistakes where healing is healing, and any combo or line that gets the job done might be exactly what the doctor ordered. This is also why when somebody asks me what's the best combo to use, I have to tell them it's kind of impossible to answer. I think for beginners, knowing that they can throw out a Temporal Anomaly and then full charge a Dream Breath, yeah, that's a great heal. That does a lot of work for you. But it doesn't really do justice for how they're going to play as they learn more and more about the spec. Okay, now that we got all the combo stuff out of the way, let's go through every single spell and talk about what it does for us in the context of combos, cleave healing, all that good stuff. Okay, first on the list, let's talk about Chrono Flame and Living Flame. This is a basic cast move. You already know how it works. It's a heal. You can use it just like heal or flash heal on priest, where you just kind of use it to heal people up. In terms of its combo usage, it's a little dubious because you do always have Living Flame, but it's not always the strongest heal. And sometimes you do need more healing, and Chrono Flames and Living Flames just aren't going to cut it all the time. There are some scenarios where they're very useful, but my recommendations for this move is to heal people up either no combo or, cleave healing or single target combos, just to heal up 1 target that might be hurting and not waste too many resources. If you have a free Temporal Anomaly that's already sitting on targets, you want to start some AoE healing, it's not a bad thing to throw to Chrono Flame and get a few of these rolling. It's just not the most potent spell, and if you're playing Flame Shaper, if they're not instant cast, they're going to be even weaker. They still serve a purpose, but you know what I mean. If you need more healing very quickly, you're always going to be dipping to another spell. But the 20% chance at an Essence Burst is a pretty big boon, and those Essence Bursts are good for doing other combos, so if you have a moment to heal with it, it's good. Also, one of my favorite uses of it, and this is assuming we have twin echoes, so for anyone who's watching this not in Season 1, this may or may not apply to you. However, like let's say I throw a Temporal Anomaly and then I Verdant Embrace this person right here. Okay, I now have Ancient Flame. This is a buff that makes our next cast 30% faster, or 40% faster, excuse me, after Emerald Blossom or Verdant Embrace. This means that, like, okay, I just healed those targets, maybe I can echo 2 targets that need it, and then I throw a Chrono Flame, and that's a pretty effective and fast heal, given that, again, it costs 1-2 echoes maybe, and then a Chrono Flame. So I think Living Flames and Chrono Flames are good. Just note that they're not as strong as other spells, and so they're great for catching up. They're great for lower end healing when just nothing's going on. And note that the reason Chrono Flames are so strong is because of Chrono Dynamo, making them 50% stronger, damage or healing when on instant cast, and reducing the cast time by 0.2 seconds. If you ever want to AoE heal with this move, it can't just be like temporal anomaly and then you throw out a living flame. Like, that's okay, but really, it's not going to get the job done most times. If you really want to use the spell, I highly recommend you full charge a fire breath to get as many leaping flames as possible. Remember, you get more living flames the longer you charge your fire breath. So if I were to throw a temporal anomaly now and then go heal with chrono flames, multiple chrono flames are going to come out of me and do healing. That's pretty useful in its own right. And furthermore, if you want a really nice healing tip, you can always full charge a fire breath or however many leaping flames you want to get. And by throwing a chrono flame at this mob, you'll notice the others go and heal. And that's because if there's no other targets to hit, you can heal, and it's not a direct heal. That won't pop your echoes. So it's a nice non-combo way to kind of get some healing done, some smart healing, without having to break your combo, which is a cute little trick you might use. And also for anyone who's curious, if there's only 1 or 2 targets to heal, but there's enemies to damage and you have leaping flames, they will go find targets to hit if you're in combat with them and in range. It's an incredibly niche thing to know, but I figured I'd mention it here. Living flame, it can be useful, but outside of the instant cast variations and having a large amount of leaping flames, this really is your backup heal, your slow heal. Don't overuse this one, don't overthink it. Reversion is a very loaded spell, you already know. There's the tooltip if you want to look at it. It's a heal over time. It can crit to a maximum of 12 additional seconds on a target. Every time it crits, it gains 2 seconds to its time, but we're not really here for the heal over time. We're here for golden hour, right? 15% of damage taken in the last 5 seconds is healed back instantly. Let's go over a couple of notes with this move. First of all, there's no upper bound to this. So these mobs are taking damage all the time, these healing dummies. So if you hit reversion on them, you get some absurdly large number. And that's because that's how much damage they're taking in the last 5 seconds. 15% of damage taken in the last 5 seconds. With no upper bound, there's a lot of situations where you can heal a tank to full very quickly because they've been taking so much damage. This is why we're one of the best tank healers in the entire game. So this on its own right is good. However, using this with temporal anomaly will weaken the effect quite a bit. Hold on, let me reset my aggro so I don't get punched by the training dummy. But anything gone through temporal anomaly makes a weaker echo. Because of that weaker echo, the reversions will be less strong at instant cast healing. So you'll notice those numbers were in fact smaller. It's really hard to notice those numbers given how many of them pop up. So do you want to use temporal anomaly and reversion? Do you want to AoE heal with reversion? Not really. You don't want to use it for the heal. You will use it though, because getting reversions on targets gives us grace period. This means that they receive 10% bonus healing. If they have 2 reversions on them because of an echo, they're receiving 20% bonus healing. And if you're running instant cast living flames, all of these reversions are rolling a chance to give you an instant cast living flame. And furthermore, a reminder that all of these moves have a 15% chance to give you an essence burst. All of these reversions, I should say. And so you very likely might get an essence burst out of it, which is pretty useful in its own right. But yeah, sometimes before the pull or when there's not a lot going on in the pull, I'll throw a temporal anomaly and get reversion on everyone. Just so that when the going does get rough, I could say launch a dream breath, then throw a temporal anomaly, then hit a Marithra's blessing. Having a heal already really set up for me and having all of those like buffs running is a boon to my play. But when there's more important healing to be done, reversion has another purpose. A lot of the times you'll be using reversion to cleave heal. Let's say there was a major damage event, right? Like everyone just took damage over here, right? And I use my temporal anomaly and I hit a Verd Embrace, okay? Now a few people are still hurt. I might echo a target, and then reversion. It's sort of a spot heal, clean them up kind of deal. And you're going to be using reversions a lot of the times to clean up bigger healing events. The final real use case outside of healing your tank is don't be scared to use it as a spot heal. So long as it was in the last 5 seconds, if somebody took damage, right? Let's say they took half their life bar. Echo reversion will heal 15% of the damage that they took in the last 5 seconds 4 times. That's pretty powerful. And again, there's no upper bound and you don't run out of healing to do from damage that they took. It just looks at the number of damage taken in the last 5 seconds and gives it to them. So as a combo tool, it's a cleanup tool, it's a setup tool, it's nice for ramping, it can give you essence burst, but it's never really my go-to heal. As let's say there's a major healing event and everyone's lost a ton of damage and you have a full echo on everyone in your party, the reversion will only do so much. A full charge dream breath or a Verdant Embrace, or even a Chrono Flame might do more healing. So I like it as a cleanup tool. Use it often, and use it very often when you're just trying to pick people up between stuff, because again, more reversions rolling means more bonus healing, which means less targets you have to worry about. When the going gets rough, they'll be receiving more healing, and either that pays itself forward and making your life easier to heal, or if they take a ton of damage, it might help you heal them back up in particular quicker. So it's an important tool. Now, similarly, Marithra's Blessing, which you'll see me get by hitting Dream Breath a lot, we get this talent from, or this spell rather, from any essence that we spend. There's just a chance that we get one, and a guaranteed one from Dream Breath. Note that it sits around for 60 whole seconds, so you actually have a ton of time to use this. It also is the spell reversion. Don't ever forget that. When you put this on a target, like if I hit myself with Marithra's Blessing, I get a reversion. So when you use Marithra's Blessing, it will do all the things we just talked about, except let me tell you about Marithra's Blessing. This heal is very strong. So on a surface level, if I just throw out a Marithra's Blessing, it's okay, right? Like it bounces around, it does a small amount of healing. It doesn't look like it's very powerful. But what makes the move so dang powerful, I'm trying desperately to get one before this Dream Breath's on cooldown. What makes it such a powerful spell is that when you get more of these bouncing around, it does a lot more healing, because again, it's trying to find targets, it's bouncing into targets that just got hit with reversion, that's grace period, and when you start stacking it all together, you get a really powerful effect. So let's just show this off really quick. I throw a temporal anomaly, there's reversions all over the place. All of these bouncing around are doing a ton of healing for your team. And I'll try to put some gameplay on screen of a situation where I hit a fat Marithra's Blessing in the middle of a run. You'll see it does a lot of healing. Now again, you get weaker Marithra's Blessings through those temporal anomalies. So I highly recommend, if you are trying to echo up your whole team, make sure you throw the temporal anomaly and then maybe put 1 or 2 full-size echoes out to get a little bit more healing out of your setup. But this move, combo it with all of the echoes in the world. You can use this for cleave healing, you can use this for AoE healing. In terms of spot healing, it's not the best move, but let's say you got a random Marithra's Blessing and your tank is dying, I wouldn't care. I would put an echo in the tank, I would hit Marithra's Blessing for the golden hour effect of reversion, and just let the Marithra's Blessings bounce around to do some extra healing. However, if you're using your Dream Breath and you know you're going to get a guaranteed setup, you can use that one to really snowball a lot of healing for your team. And remember, Marithra's Blessing is reversion, so when you use it in mass AoE, it's going to give you chances at those essence bursts, which you can use to set up cleave healing for after a major healing event and top off the rest of your team. And let's say you're in that topping off situation, you're putting down echoes, and you get another Marithra's Blessing. Well, that's a really big deal. Now you can use that Marithra's Blessing instead of, say, a Verdant Embrace. When it comes to not wasting the move, I think the random proc ones, use them however you see fit. If you need to use a reversion, send the Marithra's Blessing if it was a random proc. If you have one that's guaranteed, try to line it up for when you need to use a Marithra's Blessing. So you see your Dream Breath is available, you know you're going to get one, so maybe put some reversions down where you need them, then fire the Dream Breath, then throw the temporal anomaly, and you'll have a charge of Marithra's Blessing ready for you. I know this can seem a little confusing, but there's very few wrong ways to use Marithra's Blessing. In fact, single target and no combo healing is the worst way to use it. But again, if it was a random proc one and you need to use the golden hour effect of reversion to heal a tank, you're not going wrong by wasting the Marithra's Blessing. It is what it is. We move on. We play the hand that we have and we make it work. And sometimes you waste a resource, but ultimately you need to do that to keep someone alive. That's fine. All right, now for my favorite move, Verdant Embrace. Note that there are 2 very viable talents. Dream Simulacrum and Wings of Liberty have their uses. I'm going to be sending you off with Dream Simulacrum most often, as sending a ranged version of Verdant Embrace that hits 30% harder for both Flameshaper and Chrono Warden. Absolutely huge. However, there are some really cool setups with Wings of Liberty, and we'll talk about it. Verdant Embrace, I want you to think about it as a single target heal, and if you're watching this outside of Season 1, please ignore the Emerald Blossom that it drops. But yeah, you hit Verdant Embrace, it's a big, powerful single target heal. What's not to love? And if you're playing Chrono Warden, it'll produce a small heal over time. If you're playing Flameshaper, it can eat part of a Dream Breath for some more burst healing on the target you struck. This move can be comboed, of course, so throw out a Temporal Anomaly, Verdant Embrace, and that's a good amount of healing. Now, it's roughly a Living Flames healing, so you might be going, how good really is it? But the trick is that it's instant, right? You don't have to sit there with the cast time. You just send out the Verdant Embrace. Furthermore, there's a couple of benefits to using a Verdant Embrace. Mostly that Verdant Embrace temporarily bonds your life with an ally, causing healing on either partner to heal the other for 60% of the amount. If you're ever dying, by the way, and you have a Guardian Druid, you should Verdant Embrace your Guardian Druid. Thank me later. This is a really powerful effect. Life Bind is very useful, and it's 8 seconds long. So you can't use this in AoE like you could in the past, but don't get it twisted. Imagine you need to cleave heal someone, or let's just say you need to heal someone far away. So let's say this player's going to run out for a bomb, or I'm going to run out for a bomb. I can hit them, I can walk away, and I can heal myself, and they'll receive healing. So there's a lot of really unique ways to use Verdant Embrace. I like using it for single target healing, cleave healing, and the occasional no combo heal, as right now in Season 1 we can get a lot of value out of it with Twin Echoes, and I like my Ancient Flame buff as that's pretty powerful. But Verdant Embrace does have another use with Wings of Liberty, where you get 2 charges of it and you can get 2 life binds down. This allows you to do like a small 3 target cleave heal from your Verdant Embrace, and then healing yourself or healing those targets to all essentially heal each other. It's very useful and it's extremely cool. On the Chrono Warden side of things, the heal over time is really, really powerful. Reverberations is a very good heal, but for each reverberation that's down, you're going to be getting 3% haste up to 9%. This is flat haste, so it interacts with your stats a little differently. It'll just kind of slap not up to 9% haste on you with no questions asked. It feels pretty good. It's pretty fun. Just don't overthink primacy. You don't need to keep this buff running 100% of the time or anything like that. Nah, you could just use primacy when it's useful, and it'll feel good when you activate it. And maybe it's good to start some smaller healing by cleave healing, hit a Verdant Embrace, you get all that haste, you heal a couple of targets, and then go into your temporal anomaly and your other moves, and all that haste will be working in your favor. On the Flame Shaper side of things, note that you can Verdant Embrace Consume Flame through Echo. I know it's a mouth-loaded sentence. So you Dream Breath your whole party, you throw a temporal anomaly, if you hit Verdant Embrace, all of the targets that receive Verdant Embrace from your Echo will consume flame. This sounds really powerful, and I have a really cool viable Flame Shaper build. If you want the video, hit the like button. You know you'll want to see that one. Flame Shaper's in a really fun spot right now. However, don't overthink it. That setup, as cool as it is way too much effort for the healing you get out of it. I like to use Consumed Flame and Verdant Embrace on Flame Shaper, more so to be like, hey, this person has a Dream Breath on them. They took damage. I can echo them. I can hit them with a Verdant Embrace and get a huge burst of extra healing on them, and topping them off instantaneously. So try not to overthink how crazy the setup can sound in your head. You might be like, oh my god, I can do so much. It's way too much work. Don't overthink it. All right, use Consume Flame to your advantage when it's possible. If you're playing Flame Shaper, most of the benefit that you get is actually in the other talents, less so Consume Flame. So to recap, because we talked a lot about Verdant Embrace, I think Verdant Embrace as an AoE heal is okay. I don't think it's the worst option. I don't think it's the best option. I think it's a good, solid option to use if you have nothing else available, or if you want to link the buffs and the benefits you get from hitting this into other spells and parts of your combo. So Verdant Embrace is very flexible. Use it often. It's got a pretty short cooldown, and so you'll frequently have access to it and can use it to save yourself or save someone else or cleave heal, etc. Single target healing, I do quite a lot with this. AoE healing less so, but it's still fine when it works. However, there's better spells for AoE healing like Marithra's Blessing or our next topic, Dream Breath. When it comes to Dream Breath, right, empowered spells, when you charge them up, it changes the properties on them. This one is you get less upfront healing, more heal over time when you use it at level 1, or you get more upfront healing, less heal over time. And when I mean less, I mean its duration. The numbers don't actually change very much. So full charging a Dream Breath will give you a nice big powerful upfront heal. Now on its own, that's a pretty decent heal, and it gives us Marithra's Blessing. So Dream Breath as an AoE heal, excellent. Use it with temporal anomalies, use it with echoes, sure. You can even do unique things where, like, let's say this player's out of range, I can echo them, and then I can Dream Breath these targets, and don't worry, they still got a Dream Breath. So it's a good way of making sure everyone gets some kind of benefit out of the heal. It's a very flexible heal. Also note that you actually have a hitbox on your butt, I'll show this off, but it's actually rather thicker than you think it is. But if you ever are dealing with people being weird in range, sometimes you can just plant your butt on them and get a heal out of them. So just remember that for the future. When it comes to Dream Breath, though, Chrono Warden and Flame Shaper will interact with them a little differently, especially when it comes to your combos. So first things first, single target healing, probably not the best for Dream Breath. Like in a pinch, sure thing, maybe you do use it, but just keep in mind that it's such a good AoE heal or a setup heal that wasting it in single target is probably a dire situation. Now, if anyone's going to use it in single target, it might be Chrono Warden because of the after images, these living flames they send out after a Dream Breath or a Fire Breath. Those are pretty useful and they do a lot of spot healing for you. But even then, only in an emergency would I use that on one target. Typically speaking, I will use my Dream Breath on multiple targets. But yeah, in a pinch, it's flexible. Use it how you like. Full charging it up is the way to go though a lot of the times. And if you want to put it in temporal anomaly and get a way larger heal out of it, be my guest. On the Flame Shaper side of things, the healing over time you get from it is actually quite a bit stronger and it's happening more often. This means that you can use it to really be a backbone as part of your healing over time setups, and while you're using your other tools, it'll be working a little bit harder for you in the background. You're going to be getting pretty large charges out of Flame Shaper from your Dream Breath, or pretty large amounts of healing, I should say, from your Dream Breath. So charging it up all the way and letting it rip, you'll get more heal over time than you would have on Chrono Warden. You'll get a longer lasting heal over time, even when fully charged up. And you have 2 charges of it. I just want to note that Chrono Warden technically will always get more Dream Breaths out per second, but Flame Shaper is more likely to receive more healing from those heal over times. So it's a little hard to explain which one of these is better in what scenarios, so you just have to play to their individual strength. But having 2 charges of Dream Breath and Consume Flame means that it's a flexible AoE rot heal that can be used for further boosting single target healing with Verdant Embrace. But due to the fact this move gives us Marithra's Blessing, that's kind of where this turns into how do you want to play it. So if I throw a Temporal Anomaly and I full charge a Dream Breath, you know what? Yeah, that's a lot of healing. Now I have a Marithra's Blessing. So maybe I echo a few targets, right? And then I throw the Marithra's Blessing for some small healing. Yeah, that totally works. However, you can do a larger amount of healing, or maybe it's larger in some instances where maybe you start with the Dream Breath, hit everyone, then throw the Temporal Anomaly, right? Maybe echo yourself and one other target, then throw a ton of super strong Marithra's Blessings and bounce them around the arena. Dream Breath is flexible, and just remember that it being flexible is probably one of the best parts to the move. Just make sure you're aware of whether you're playing Flame Shaper or whether you're playing Chrono Warden, how you want to use it. But full charging this thing to heal people in front of you, never a bad idea. It's always working in your favor. Now, I actually need to talk about Fire Breath healing. This is a little hard to showcase here, but essentially Fire Breath in AoE will heal. In fact, in single target it heals, because the talent Life Giver's Flame reads, and this is on the preservation tree, Fire Breath and Deep Breath heal 5 nearby injured allies for 80% of the damage done, up to 5 targets split evenly among them. To unconfuse some of that, for those of you who might be lost, your whole party, 5 players, can be healed from your Fire Breath healing damage, excuse me. So if you have the damage over time, or you charge up a big Fire Breath and let it rip, all of that will be doing healing. So the damage that it does, 80% of it will convert to healing, and then it splits it among anyone who's hurt in your party. So if it's 5 targets, everyone gets healed a little bit. If it's 1 target, that player will receive all of the damage to healing conversion. Very similar to the way Mistweaver works, but it's really powerful. Like, don't sleep on this. It'll actually do a decent amount of healing for you across a key. While Chrono Warden won't get as much out of it as a Flame Shaper, it's still like not a bad idea to have Fire Breath running as a damage over time or as a burst heal in AoE. In single target, it's certainly less good. Like, you will not notice it's healing nearly as much, but it's still doing something. And asking you to fire a level 1 Fire Breath on the boss isn't like a tall ask, you know what I mean? So it'll still do something. Flame Shaper players, on the other hand, y'all are gonna get massive amounts of healing from your Fire Breath. Like, getting this out on many targets is a good idea, because it'll always try to find the 5 highest damage values and use those to heal your party. And because the damage over time ticks faster and you do more damage with that damage over time, it's doing quite a lot of work for you, let alone if you fully charge it up. Now, no, it has an upper bound of 5 targets, so if you're hitting 1,000 targets with a Fire Breath, 5 of them are going to produce for you the damage to healing conversion. However, I do think the game tries to find the 5 highest values from that fire breath. Don't quote me on that. I haven't been able to do extensive testing, but I do think it's trying to find the 5 largest values to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck out of your fire breath. Fire breath on a bunch of enemies, dream breath on all of your allies. It's a lot of healing. Even on Chrono Warden, that's doing a good amount of work for you. And on Flame Shaper, it does an extreme amount of work for you. So give it a shot. Just know that it's a part of your combo, and it gives you leaping flames when you charge it up, or even if you hit a level 1, you still get 1 more leaping flame. All fire breath healing can't trigger a combo. It doesn't work with Echo. So you can use this to do a little bit of healing without breaking your combo, which is extremely useful. So don't sleep on fire breath. If your build doesn't take Life Giver's Flame, well then you don't have to worry about this at all. But if you're playing Flame Shaper, you're definitely taking this. And I kind of don't leave the house without it on Chrono Warden, but there are some like Blossom Seed builds that are really cool that do not take this, and you won't have to worry about this one bit. It's finally time to talk about Temporal Barrier and Nozdormu's teachings. I'm going to lay this one out for you. I've done a lot of testing. Nozdormu's teachings is better. A lot of you probably like the sound of Temporal Barrier, getting a slightly stronger shield, and applies Echo to 5 nearby targets just like Temporal Anomaly does, except it's around you. No need to aim. Except it really isn't that good. It only goes 40 yards, which sounds nice, but that's around you in a circle. So if anyone's ranging you in any direction, you'll still run into the problem. And even then, while this is good and has some serious practical applications on bosses like Veximus, it can really help with the mana bomb situation. That is an extremely nice use of Temporal Barrier. Highly recommend trying that yourself. Nozdormu's teachings is giving 5 seconds off of your breath spells every time you press it. For Chrono Warden, this is all the damn time. On Flame Shaper, this is a form of cooldown reduction on your breaths. You don't have much cooldown reduction on your breaths at all. It's not like Chrono Warden that gets up to 6 seconds randomly reduced from their empowered spells. This is significantly more healing over the course of a run. Granted, if you don't need that extra healing all the time, then the Temporal Barrier technically does more for you. But if you haven't seen it before, Temporal Anomaly has a ginormous hitbox. Like, I just hit all of these targets in front of me, and it goes 80 something yards. Do you know what I mean? It's worth learning how to aim this to hit as many party members as possible, and then echoing anybody that you might have missed along the way to get your healing done. It's almost always more effective than using Barrier. I do think that Temporal Barrier is good, and if you're learning the spec and the aiming is really hard and you just want to lower the mental load, honestly, highly recommend it. It's a great way to lower the mental load. But you'll never learn how to aim the Temporal Anomaly better if you don't start doing it. It'll make your life a little bit easier, and the slightly larger shields do actually add up to quite a lot of extra healing, but I think it's less useful overall. However, I figured I would let you all know while we're talking combos, because you can use both talents to do basically everything we talked about already today. And I really want to stress, if you're new, don't be worried about taking Temporal Barrier. Honestly, if you want your life to be a little bit easier, that's fine. It's just there will hit a break point where having Temporal Anomaly and Nozdormu's teachings gave you more healing, and that might have saved the day. Like, that might be the clutch factor needed to survive some of the harder hitting pulls or the bigger mistakes players can make. So, wanted to get that out of the way. I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong for running one or the other, unless it is literally do or die. Okay, I don't have the build here. I'll try to link it down below, or at least I'll have a screenshot on screen now. There is a beautiful Blossom and Seedling build. They did rework Seedlings to be a little more powerful, and Field of Dreams that gives us the extra blossoms is no longer random, it's now every other blossom. This has led to a very consistent and very interesting build where you can heal people quite a distance away from you on Preservation Evoker. Dropping seeds will send out blossoms, and those little blossoming seedling things that go flying around will do a good amount of healing for you and potentially drop other blossoms to help do your bidding. This doesn't break combo. Emerald Blossom and these seedlings do not interact with your combos. So the reason I'm bringing this up is if you run a build like this, first of all, it's super viable. People have done some crazy strong keys with this. So if it looks really interesting to you, I say go and check it out and really learn it. But the hard part and the fun part is that it doesn't interact with your combos. So all of the combo stuff you want to do with your Temporal Anomaly and spending all of your spells can be interwoven with the seedling method of healing. You might even use your essence burst to fuel your seedling healing in certain heal checks. It's very cool. I don't have any footage of it, and I haven't played it myself yet, but I've seen the logs, I've seen people pump with this, and therefore I'd like to let you know that it exists. But yeah, it's a very interesting part of your combo game, the thing that doesn't work with your combo game. So I wanted to bring it up here. Let's talk about Titan's Gift down here. Essence Burst increases the effectiveness of your next essence ability by 35%. This is a godsend for sending out Marithra's blessings, because yeah, the temporal anomaly Marithra's blessings might be at half strength. The Titan's Gift Essence Burst ones are going to be a whole 35% stronger. I cannot with words explain to you how good this feels. Just having 1 or 2 Titan's Gifts echoes down when you're trying to do some healing is amazing. So work this into your combo game. If you want to keep track of your Titan's Gift and your Essence Burst and kind of make sure you're using them in the right spots, this can be a huge boon to your kit. However, if you don't want more to juggle, feel free to get rid of Titan's Gift for something else. But I want you to know that this can be a very potent part of your combo game, as it can even make your Living Flames that might be kind of weak significantly stronger and be a pretty decent source of single target healing or cleave healing. Titan's Gift is excellent, so feel free to play around with that to your heart's content. It's a very strong talent. We need to talk about Twin Echoes here, and if you're watching this outside of Season 1, there's a bit of a caveat here. In Season 1, Verdant Embrace will drop an Emerald Blossom, so we can proc Twin Echoes by hitting a Verdant Embrace. Now, to the development team that I know might be watching this video, I would like to see this come to Verdant Embrace. I don't think we need our tier set necessarily, but I think Twin Echoes being activated by Verdant Embrace and Emerald Blossom would be better benefiting all the different types of builds that maybe focus more on Verdant Embrace or don't focus on Blossoms. Just kind of food for thought, because I think it'd be nice in the future for those who are watching this in Season 2 and beyond to be able to use Twin Echoes. Because if you're watching this in Season 2 or Season 3, it's not that great. Like a Blossom build or the Seedling build we mentioned earlier might run Twin Echoes and get quite a lot of value out of it. And I understand. You're dropping Blossoms to heal, you're getting more Echoes, more bang for your buck. It means your essence economy is a little less cursed. That's a good thing. But as long as we don't have our tier set and a way to proc this easily, if you're in Season 2 and 3 and they didn't implement it, yeah, that means that this is a really cool talent that you're ultimately not going to get a lot of use out of. And if you didn't know, you can actually stack Twin Echoes multiple times. It's a fascinating talent, but of course, it's only so good, but more 100% effective Echoes makes your combo game quite a bit stronger. If you're playing this in Season 1, or they've made the change in the future, oh my goodness, yeah, using Verdant Embrace to kind of top off players into more powerful Echoes, into say, a Marithra's Blessing, godsend, absolute godsend amount of healing. Twin Echoes makes your ramping process a little bit smoother and a little bit cleaner as long as you mix in a Verdant Embrace. Given how flexible Verdant Embrace is as a heal, that's actually a huge boon to your playstyle. So hopefully this becomes something standard on Preservation, but Season 1 players, rejoice. Use this as a part of your combo game. Use this as a part of your healing. It'll make your life so much easier between massive heal checks to get a Twin Echoes proc from something you did previously, and then spend that to go giga ramp for another event. It's a great time. And one final thing to talk about with our combo game before I briefly mention stasis, time dilation and just in time. So having 2 charges of your time dilation doesn't actually interact with Echo. So you might be wondering why I'm bringing it up. Well, time dilation lets you play your combo game differently. You're healing differently, right? If somebody's low on health and you time dial them, you might save them because 50% damage reduced, and then they take that 50% that's reduced over 10 seconds means you can get to them later. Getting to them later means that a different part of your combo game, you can factor them in and heal them. So use time dilation often. It's off the global cooldown with an extremely short internal cooldown so that you don't like accidentally fire off both of your time dilations. Use this to kind of stall someone's demise or to not worry about someone anymore and focus on other tasks. It's amazing on tanks, it's great for saving lives, but there's one other option that'll really help your combo game. And that's our mastery. Remember, we do more healing to other targets if we have more percentage HP than them. We always hit ourselves with mastery, so we're always getting more healing on ourselves. So a time dilation before a major damage event is sometimes best on you, because now you're taking significantly less damage. You can get more effect out of your mastery as the health bars start to decline. And with a 50-second recharge with the talents we're taking, you're going to have 2 charges of this for a major healing event constantly. And you can even send this regularly. I know on certain bosses, like 2 players get a debuff, you can dispel one and time dial the other and essentially make your life wicked easy. So time dilation is a part of your combo game, and that by delaying people's demises and or keeping your mastery up, you can more effectively do all of the things you're looking to do. Now, as a final note, I didn't talk about stasis, and that's because stasis essentially holds a combo for you. I always like to give the advice that stasis is best for holding a temporal anomaly and one other spell like a full charge dream breath, and I want you to mostly think about it like that. Hey, you're about to do a lot of healing. Pop stasis and let your biggest healing events go inside the stasis, and then you can use it again in the next 30 seconds to get all of the benefit back out of it. It's a powerful move, but it can get confusing. It essentially lets you take a combo and use it again later, which means the possibilities are kind of extremely large, right? Don't be intimidated by stasis. Just put some moves inside of it and thank me later. I think full charging a dream breath and throwing a temporal anomaly every single time you use stasis is a good idea. Bonus points if you want to end it with a Marithra's Blessing and kind of let that do its thing whenever you release it, but there's a lot of creative ways to use stasis, so give it a try. And don't forget to use all of your resources, right? When you're using healing combos and you're trying to keep people alive, remember that a tail swipe might stop some incoming casts and make your life easier. A rewind might catch you back up if a disaster started. Don't be scared of using your tools. Remember, it's not one way to combo. There's not one way to play this spec. And the whole idea of teaching you these combos isn't to teach you some overly complicated way to heal. It's to give you ideas of how you can utilize the spells back to back or effectively alongside each other. But when I say there's no right way to play Preservation, or really no right way to play World of Warcraft, there isn't. There's a lot of ways to get the job done. Remember, healing is healing. At the end of the day, if you were able to heal the party through the damage event with whatever combo or sorcery you figured out for healing, hey, that's good enough for me. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Otherwise, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, friends.